welcome back to this exhibition match in between the Weekend Warriors Academy team and the MCOM Knights in MCOM's Iron to Platinum tournament. We've got Knights 1-0 up after game one, where they felt like it was even until about 27 minutes and the game blew open. I'm 6KJ. Here with me, as in game one, is TS Quirty. What do we think the side for the Weekend Warriors want to change up after that game one?
Yeah, definitely their decision making around contesting objectives. There's a lot of things that they were doing well when they got the Cogmore head. And the reason why they got the Cogmore head earlier was because they played the vision so well, right? They set up all these vision in the bot lane, and MCOM Knights, they pulled the trigger on that Cogmore without the vision. So, the banking on something like an Ari charm is just something that is that's just too risky. And then you have a lot of weird objective contests at certain dragons, and that Baron was the big one that lost them. They should have just took the L on the Baron and at least pushed some waves, at least got some towers or something, just to give them even more space when they do have Baron, and getting a bit more gold to alleviate some of the damage. As you see, the teams are remaining on the same sides, so MCOM Knights staying on the blue side. So we'll see how we go this game.
I'm gonna see here's looks like the same draft at least.
Mm-hmm.
So far, I believe these are basically the same bans as well, so both sides happy with it. One interesting thing is that we're seeing this Cassiopeia banned out. Obviously a strong champion right now, presumably a target ban. But for red side this time, we're gonna see the Ornn pick locked in here for Weekend Warriors, and I felt like last game one of their biggest issues was they didn't really have reliable engage. Often they couldn't, obviously they had playmaking mistakes, but if they did want to make a play, it was so hard for them to actually start a play. And having this Ornn here will help them a lot with it, especially with this Rakan.
Yeah, they definitely did. They had the Gnar, but they were more relying on the engage from MCOM Knights kind of not going their way. To consistently being able to turn those fights by keeping the Cogmore alive, because that's that's the champion that MCOM is going to engage on. The Ornn was that champion that was banned last time, when that was not banned this time. So that's going to be taken in the first pick ban rotation. Of course, Ornn is actually one of the best top laners right now. Just having so much consistency while having a decent scaling, and you got a bit of damage. You can survive lane. Xayah Rakan as well to pair with that. So yeah, like you said, definitely a lot of playmaking potential this time on the side of Weekend Warriors.
Feels almost like a just completely different draft here, but the Lulu though will go over to the Knights here. And now they have Jinx Lulu. They have this really strong enchantment that's going to buff their 80 carry. And the Vi, which means that Cogmore completely off the table. Ari banned out, Annie banned out though, so we're going to see a new mid lane matchup. These both feel like much more, I guess, blue side was standard last time, but it's much more standard top three here, almost, for the side of the Weekend Warriors. Do we think that anything interesting could come through in the end, or do you expect to see like mid lane a bit volatile, but just these boring standard mages and then etc. to come through?
I mean, boring standard mages have their benefits, right? You pick them because they're safe and there's not much room for error. So knowing that, you have to now put on where your volatility is, because the more volatility you have, the more opportunity you have. You have Xayah as the playmaking, of course. You still have pretty decent scaling on that champion as well. You got the Senna being hovered as well, so that's been considered. But yeah, it is going to be the Poppy. So a lot of meaty frontline here on the side of Weekend Warriors. And I think with this now, you can just look for plays to just run down certain people, get this Jinx out of here. Of course, you do have the Lulu to deal with as well. But the last pick, I would definitely want to see something just to lock in that comp identity that you want to just run them down.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably want to see some form of thing, just run at them. But if you think you can got a read on this game better than the masses, you can use your MCOM, your channel points, go make a prediction maybe get it in early before it starts so you feel extra smug when you're right. Because you will be right, because you're a person who is confident, you're a person who knows what they're talking about. And everyone else, they're wrong, who disagrees with you. But here, back to the draft, we've got Talia being hovered, Tam Kent got Talia locked in. Mordekaiser picked actually into the Ornn. This is, of course, a very strong 1v1 matchup. And Talia as this roaming champion, this feels like a fairly normal comp, in fact, almost. From blue side, it's a bit odd. And the other side, Victor, do we think that Mordekaiser makes sense in this comp, though?
Well, the Mordekaiser makes sense in the sense that you want to single out a certain enemy, right, to get the Jinx rolling. So if you look at the team, it's like whoever is the problem, because Jinx likes the free hit. You want the Jinx to free hit, which is how they won a lot of their team fights later on in the game last time. So you want the Jinx to keep free hitting, and who's going to stop that? The Ornn, possibly the Poppy as well. So if Mordekaiser just takes out one of them, that gives the Jinx, along with the Lulu Whimsy speed boost, a lot more room to work with. So they can, so the Mordekaiser is actually a really good pick here, just to kind of do like a anti rundown. Right, so like, especially it's good against the Ornn ultimates. If you time it right, you can disrupt that as well. And if you take out Poppy before she can use her Keeper's Vigil, that's pretty big value too. And then you got the usual, which means you can always run at the ADC if they ever misstep and just take them out of the fight straight away. That is also an option. So as Mordekaiser in this comp, you do have a pretty good chance in lane, and also you do have a lot of different ways that you can make it work. So I think Mordekaiser's pick is pretty smart here.
Yeah, definitely. I think I do like so a lot for the red side. This Victor, it's a mobile, but it's gonna have a lot of damage. I guess the worry here is maybe it's going to be too mobile. Do we think the Victor makes sense? Because I want to look at these bottom picks, because we already talked about the rest of it. And I think these are actually the most interesting picks in both drafts. Victor, lane prior, and then takes a bit to scale. Do we think... I guess the question is the roaming power, the roaming advantage from this Talia going to punish this Victor at all for maybe, say, mid-game, obviously, lane advantage? Or does Victor have enough lane prior? Does he have enough damage that you think it will just help them outscale in the end?
I actually think they picked the Victor to try to prevent the Talia roam. Because Victor is especially once he gets that death ray upgrade, it's he's got a lot of wave clear, and wave clear is the counter to roaming, right? If you're constantly getting your wave just destroyed in like 2 seconds, how are you gonna roam? You have to get a gank in, you have to play around the TP. You need help. And if you do roam, you either concede CS, or you concede giving plating, or you concede giving tower to the other mid laner. So I think the Victor, in terms of in keeping the mid lane under control, I think that is not bad of a move if they do have that strategy in mind, utilizing that champion. Now, of course, it's still the same overall. You still want the bot lane to get ahead, this Jinx. You want her to accelerate that scaling. The Xayah Rakan as well, you also want to accelerate that. Xayah's got a lot of playmaking potential. That Featherstorm gives her a lot of room to make those rundown plays, right? You can even tank towers as Xayah for like the first 2 or 3 hits, and then just drop aggro with Featherstorm. You can peel off the Vi with Featherstorm. That's also pretty huge. That's something that the Cold War cannot do. So I think Weekend Warriors this time, they should have a lot more suitable tools to work with to get this game down.
Yep, I think that's up. We'll see you after a short break. We get into the game, but enjoy the break. Don't forget to predict and get excited for Game 2 of the MCOM Knights versus the Weekend Warriors Academy here in the MCOM Esports Let G Cup. Welcome back onto the Rift for Game 2 of this exhibition match between MCOM Knights on the blue side, Weekend Warriors Academy on the red side, and they're actually playing for stakes. That's that. The winner of this side, both of these teams, top seeds 1 and 2 into the playoffs, and that means they get to go straight to semi-finals. But the winner of this series, they get to choose who they play in semi-finals. They get to take their pick of who they think the worst team from the quarterfinals is and play them in the semi-finals. And that's actually a fairly reasonable advantage, especially with some of the inconsistencies of these teams. I'm 6KJ, with me is TS, QWERTY, and we almost saw play, but not much. Welcome, and are we excited for this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's the chance for the Weekend Warriors to come back, right? Like you said, they get to pick who they play against, which it's not only advantage just because they can pick the worst team that they think is out of their choices, but it's also because that if they pick who they play, that also gives them a lot of alleviation in terms of the homework that the coaching staff have to do, right? Because what you usually do in tournaments, and once you get to the stage, you don't know who you're playing against. So what do you have to do? You have to research against all the possibilities. So that means that your efforts are now spread thin. As a coach, as an analyst, you have to spend an equal amount of time researching this team and that team. But if you know who you're going to play against, you can double the efforts onto the team that you know you're going to play against, right? So that's actually a pretty big advantage for the coaching staff and the homework that they can do if they do get to choose who they play against.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think it's obviously not as huge. It's not going to like win you the tournament because you would still have to beat best team anyways. But it is fairly reasonable and it's not nothing. And these players are going to be taking it seriously because of that. Onto the rift. Both junglers starting topside again. Both of them going to be pathing down bot. This time though, level 2 is hit first by this Zyra Khan combo. And they're going to get lane priority. Much easier, of course, because they have the wave clear advantage this time compared to last time.
Yeah, Zyra Khan is a nice all-in at level 1 that they took a very nice advantage of. And speaking of all-ins, they just make these short trades in and out using the Rakan dashes. The great use of the utility, the synergy between those two champions at level 1 to get the engage and manages to pop the ghost. So that's a summoner spell down if they decide to make a play on the Jinx. So that it's definitely something that you want. And having a lane pro also means that Baki has a bit more room to roam, has a bit more room to help his jungle get more of that bot side control, which does translate into some dragon leads. So that's actually a great look so far for Weekend Warriors.
Exciting. Both junglers here, and we're going to see them rotate up. Scuttle, crash this wave. Top lane though, another interesting matchup. Mordecai is the pick. We see it a bit more in 9 to plat than we do in pro. But even in pro, we saw, I think, last year, I believe it was who here, or was it Impact, picked this into the Ornn in the LCS. And it did well. It's Canna. Do we expect it though to dominate this lane early? Or do you think, or at least in your experience, that it's much more of a once you get you can steal the stats pushing side lanes Canna pick?
I mean, at this level, the safer thing is the safer thing generally is just to chill out because Ornn's gonna scale anyway. Like I actually have personally never played a game against Ornn where you can just kill the Ornn at all stages of the game. No matter how far ahead you are, no matter how behind he is, there's always a point where he somehow just has too much stats, too much HP, and you just can't kill him. So as the top lane, I think even if you do play it safe and you both scale, just the utility that you can bring out of the Mordekaiser, singling out the enemy targets in that death realm, is something that is viable, completely viable to play for.
I don't think much is going on the map. We're going to see bot lane. Baki misses the engage, and I don't expect much. They're going to zone them off the wave though. Actually, might be a play here. Chompers come through, but gets turned around. Dad's going to keep trading, It's getting low though. This Jinx is getting damaged, and the zap comes through. 1 HP forces the heal out in the end. No exhaust, so maybe not enough, but they do get a summoner in that trade. Trade the exhaust for the heal, and gets lane pro. I think probably beneficial there for the Knights.
Yeah, the big mistake there was that they traded into a wave that was bouncing back towards them, right? Because the waves are bouncing back and forth. If you crash the wave, it's going to bounce back, and if it bounces back, they're going to have a bigger wave. And their mistake was trading into the bigger wave, and it almost costed them their lives. Of course, flashes were not committed, knowing that the heal was up. But that could have very well, in an ideal world for MCOM, been a kill onto the Jinx, which completely negates the early pressure that Zyra Khan has gained so far. So they're very dangerous, and they might actually be able to now gain a lot of tempo off that mistake.
So of course, getting this first reset mid lane, bit of a serious finish Victor. But we do see here is Penguin Domo was looking maybe at starting this dragon. First dragon is up. Might see a fight, but top lane actually, Old Man Nova gets to play into the meat button. Realm of Death not being used here. It's going to be used now. Call of Fortune comes through. If they get the second hit, it's going to be traded. But actually, in the end, it's a kill to meat button. And that's a good kill, solo kill. Barely gets it. Actually, I think had a gold advantage. No, just put. But Abe here might have caught out Bucky. Bucky's caught alone. They've got the Vike here. The flash though jukes out from the Vike and they're not going to be able to get the kill. But they get the flash away. Penguin Domo is on this Drake. Sharky rotating up. They might not know though. Yeah.
Very odd positioning there from Baki, just walking up. Not too sure what the plan was there. I mean, his teammates weren't quite there, and he didn't exactly have all the vision that he needed. So maybe a bit of a disconnect there with him and his team. Of course, on the top side, those isolated obliterates did a lot to win that fight there, needing the first kill, which Mordekaiser really needed. Oh, the dragon actually got stolen, but is he gonna?
No, it didn't actually.
Oh no, it didn't get secured.
No, looks like, but then now Shark's caught in the pit. It's forced to flash away. Chaos Storm used here by this Victor. Slightly too early, I believe, on the smite from Sharky, and that's going to cost them the Drake. And red side here, they get out, they get the flash back, and they get first Drake. Mountain Drake worth quite a bit. Infernal Drake next, and so these individual Drake stacks will be worth more, but the chance of it being a less valuable soul is a lot higher as well. And so it's a bit of a win-loss. Top lane though, Meatbun here has gotten to back off, now has more damage, and might be able to start just dominating this Ornn in the lane. The percent HP damage from the passive, and just the Q that's often going to be really hard to miss on an Ornn who's using that Bellows Breath.
Yeah, we see the bot lane, of course, transitioning into Dragons, right? Their prime example. The lane is pushing back towards the side of Weekend Warriors, which potentially opens up for a play, but he will get spotted by a ward in that tri-bush. And man, those isolated obliterates are just doing huge amount of value in these trades. Look at that, that's two of them, and he's less than half HP. And he's got no teleport as well, so it's not like he can just simply heal up and come back. He has to wait it out. He's got that Sunfire, but that doesn't really help him weather that storm, so to say. Of course, Meatburn still has flash up as well, so he does have that flash advantage on top of everything. So yeah, top lane looking very, very dangerous for the side of Weekend Warriors. You see Penguin does come up to try and alleviate some of that pressure, but Sharky is also on the top side as well. Looking for a potential play mid. We'll see what happens.
I do want to call out though that Ape here on this Jinx hasn't got a reset yet. Sharky has the Herald, but bot lane is going to feel way too hard for the side of the Knights to actually do anything here until they can find that reset angle. Top lane though, Run's going to get Bellows Breath, gets him out of there. That is a useful thing in the matchup, but you still take the damage.
Yeah, you still have damage, and right now you just have absolutely zero pressure in the top lane. You cannot contest or trade with the Mordekaiser, and we saw that once he gets you in that position when you can't even get close to your wave, that's when he can easily land those isolated obliterates with the bonus damage.
Play here, Tarbu's gonna R in, but nothing much gonna happen. Chaos Storm coming through. So it is a trade for the trade, but they get the flash out of the Victor, and that's going to make it a lot easier for future ganks to happen in that mid lane.
Yeah, looking for plays to, looking for certain locations to drop that Rift Hero that Sharky has in his pocket. Of course, gonna burn that flash in the mid lane. He could revisit the mid lane, knowing that the flash is down and the Chaos Storm is also down. That could be an option as well. But we'll see what he does. He does have the red buff now, which is an extra tool that he can use to make the ganks happen. Yeah, we'll see where he decides to go. It looks like he's popping towards bot, but he is spotted on the way. Meanwhile, on this top lane,
it's still Ape here still, and they're gonna get the play though. Collapsing onto Lady for the win. She's down, caught out, and I don't think you can turn this because no resets had still come through here for Abe. And so I feel like making a play at all here was just so ambitious. You're down a full pickaxe in that lane. Top side though, it's a 30 CS lead. Now it's over 1,000 gold in the lead, and this turret keeps getting worse, and so that is a bit of a saving grace. What feels like a really awkward situation just then in the bot lane for the Knights.
Yeah, that is pretty awkward. Yeah, I mean that just kind of looks like a low-key face shake. Tries to get some vision, but Penguin was already there, so able to just secure something for his team down in that bot side. A nice crash there before they leave, just to reset the wave, so they come back to a bounced wave for them to farm. With the boots and the dagger does have a slight item advantage, and if we look at the bot lane, that's a pretty decent CS difference. It's about a 20 CS difference So we're talking about one and a half, 1.25 kills worth of gold right there on the side of their AD carries, and on top of that, they also have a plating to them. So um, yeah, this Jinx are gonna start feeling a bit of the pressure to scale pretty soon.
That's simple. And plays coming through. This Rakan is also going to get strong. We've already seen the quickness using that play there. Sharky still looking for a place to drop this Rift Herald though. But this is the strength of this Rakan now. He's gotten out of lane. And so it's going to be almost impossible for them to make this play. This Rift Herald does need to be dropped soon. You can't let it time out. Might be dashing though. They do know Baki is there. But this isn't really what you want. It's a 2v2, but the other team is much closer. They are going to peel back now. This Drake's up. And we might see us fight for this Drake. But this Rift Herald's still not dropped. And I think that's just such an issue. Do you see them go in? Do you think that they're actually going to take this? And it looks like we're not going to fight. But now, do you think you give us up? Oh, the catch out actually, the flick here. Pengadomo just forces the flash out.
I just asked you a question really quickly. I mean, he's still got the Rift Herald. That's the main thing. You want to use the Rift to generate pressure so you have room to take the dragon. So having, he tried to revisit mid to make that play we talked about earlier about punishing the flashless and the ultiless Victor at the time. But that just couldn't happen. The wave just wasn't there. He wasn't in the right position. Couldn't find the right angles. And he drops the Rift mid. It doesn't crash. It was not in a spot that he wants to drop it. That does buy them some time as Victor tries to
comes through, just splits off Baki, but of course, can't go over the wall, gets the flick onto the Zion, they get the Keeper's Verdict onto them, quickness through to the backline, and everyone's caught out a great route there onto Pabu, and now it's a kill over to this Victor, good route, and they get the Dragon, Sharky goes off the wall, is forced to flash out yet again, can't find the steal this time either, but it's a Chem Tech Rift, this is the worst soul, generally agreed. It could be good in this game because you have a lot more, I feel, sustained damage on the other side. Less bursty, but it's still just not a great soul. It's not what you want. But at the end, you're still 2 Drakes up. You still have a 600 gold lead. It's really only top lane that feels like it's at all a worry for the weakened warriors here.
Yeah, well, what happened that Dragon there, it's basically you want to make the other team make a decision when they're not ready to. And in that case, you want to drop Rift Herald to crash the towers because you want the other team to make a decision on whether to, protect the tower.
Like going to go for a play on Abe here. There's a lot of damage coming through this Rakan. Not going to take the tower, but actually the polymorph comes through. Abe has a lot of damage, but not enough mana here.
He's got
I don't know if you can rocket. I don't think rocket kills, and I don't think there's enough mana.
Yeah, but yeah, you want the Rift Herald to pressure the other team to make a decision. Do you protect the tower or do you do Dragon? When that Rift Herald was dropped, the wave was already there. The Rift Herald had to slowly plow through the wave. It gave Nova on this Victor enough time to walk mid. And once the Victor walks mid, now the pressure turns. Now weakened warriors now have to make the decision on whether to engage now before Victor comes. Because that's the time window they have, is the time that it takes for Victor to kill the Rift and clear the wave. They have to make a decision in that time to engage with them on the numbers advantage or to speed run the Dragon, and they had to make a decision that they were not ready to make. So the engage was a bit rushed. They couldn't find the perfect setup they need, and the follow up just wasn't there.
Pengadomo going in on Sharky. Sharky's trying to trade it back though, and now the steadfast presence has come through. The quickness finds the backline, finds Lady of the Wind. Sharky's caught out as well here, and this Lulu should be fine. The Chemtech enhanced blast gun comes through. But that should be second Drake here over to the side of Weekend Warriors, which gives a lot of local gold now. So this is worth it. And that's just, it feels like it keeps falling apart. It feels like the Knights this game just haven't been in the right spots, or they've been in the right spot too early, which makes it the wrong spot.
Yeah, the Recaros on Baki as well, also generating a lot of tempo for their team. I'm just able to...
walks into 3, Keeper's Verdict knocks away though. That's fine, and I don't think you can contest anymore. He's going to Blast Plant over, though, with his Chemtech enhanced Blast Plants, but there's no chance of stealing into a Smite, and just walks away. First, it's fine. First items, though, completed for coming in for multiple members. Rylai's coming in this top lane for Meat Bun, and it's almost halfway to that Mythic as well. Got the, whatever the thing is. I mean, it's the Leeching Leer, I should know this. Coming through. It's a Black Cleaver again from the Vi. And on the other side, it's Frostfire Gauntlet actually, but Pabu might be caught out in bot lane. Apparently not. Thank you, Director Camera. Frostfire Gauntlet coming in here for this Poppy, which I think is quite an interesting choice into a comp that has maybe a lot more MR.
I mean, you do want that slow. Of course, and you have champions like Mordekaiser and Jinx that they don't have dashes to, you know, rapidly get away from you. So if you do catch someone out, that slow really does help. But you know, that's what your role is, right? You want that. The whole point of picking this beefy front line is to be able to run people down, which does mean that I expect to see Shirelias coming out from Baki at any point. So you know, there's some tempo gained. Baki, of course, on this Rakan was actually pretty huge, rotating to get that numbers advantage up in that top side. You know, getting a pick with that numbers advantage, transitioning that to a Herald. Now that transitions to a mid tower with a little bit of extra gold. So that opens up the map a lot now for the side of Weekend Warriors, especially when Dragon is coming up right here. So that's a lot of things that they can work with. You know, has that Gale Force finish on Xayah as well, so she can go for those plays. Poppy getting tanky with that Gauntlet, like you said. It's just the Ornn that's having a bit of trouble, but you know, Ornn is probably the champion that you want out of everyone to have trouble on, because at some point he is going to be fine.
Definitely. It looks like seeing play here. The next Drake comes up in 30 seconds. It is a chem Drake, despite what the game's trying to tell me, and we're going to keep pushing in. The Knights should have a setup here. They do. Parbu's here. Well, they might be caught out against the wall. It's another great quickness engage. Sharky stopped getting in. Weaver's Wall, though, is going to come through. It's going to split them completely. And Poppy is going to get out somehow, I think. Does get the Keeper's Verdict, but it kind of just threw them up right in the air. And we're resetting here. Ornn in base. Old Man Nova in base. Does have the teleport, though, to come through. But the Penguin Domo might be caught out. Instead, going to flip it over. The Season Desisters come through the other way. And they get the kill. Meat Bun got the Poppy down. It's one jungler down. It's a one fight lead currently. The Jinx, though, on the back end can't do much. Call the Forge Order to come in. It's going to try and hit the backside. The Lulu shields are coming through with a lot of value here. Meat Bun forced to flash away. Old Man Nova catches out Parbu with a knock-up. And they're also low on the side of the Knights here. They're going to actually have to give up the Drake despite getting up this first pick, I think. Or no, Weekend Warriors don't want to risk it into a jungler. And a 1-for-1 that really just ends up with not much more happening.
That's a great post-fight decision there, learning from their previous, learning from the mistakes from either team on the last game, and decides to go for the objective first just to get some lane prime. Make the other team respond to the pushed waves first before you do anything up. And you know, they're not doing anything crazy. They're just setting up some vision. Sharky is waiting though, but his team is not there. So if he does decide to go for it, it could be a low-key ints incoming.
No flash either to get out. So if we go for it and we don't get it, we're just dead. And if we get it, we get dead. Gets in and we get the steal into the Drake. Sharky's going to cost his life for it though. But it does stop this Drake stacking. It means it denies soul point from Weekend Warriors here. And finally, the first time this game, it's been 3 tries and it's finally a steal of the Drake over the wall. And they should have expected it, but sometimes you just can't stop it. You get the kill. It's not the worst case here either for Weekend Warriors.
So I do get the Dragon to buy them a little bit of extra time for this Jinx to scale. But you know, into that mid lane, of course, the Realm of Death and the Weaver's Wall was used, so they didn't have those cooldowns for that dragon fight. I mean, the Ornn TP'd in, they just had so much HP pool to work with. Just kind of like doing what they want, using this raw stats and just run them down, just stat check the other team. Yeah, they did manage to win that fight and secure the dragon off that. We'll see. Well, they didn't secure the dragon. Well, they should have, but you know, got stolen. But yeah, I mean, this isn't the worst thing. Like, this is the other team's. This is what Weekend Warriors' first dragon, so it's not the end of the world. You still have a lot of map pressure. You still have like the good amount of vision setting up. Just look at the top side. I love the intention, like the decisive intention that Weekend Warriors have this time. Like, you can tell that what side of the map that they're choosing to play against every time, and what objective that they want to play for. So with this amount of vision. So we'll see if they can make some picks, as Sharky is going to try and deny a little bit of that. But yeah, looks like they will make a play onto Meat Bun that's topside. He has the Realm of Death though, so it can be a bit tricky to pull off.
Definitely. Meat Bun has had this early lead, has a big gold lead lane, but actually Sharky might walk in, will not get it, and in the end, the death push doesn't work out. But bot lane, Parbu as well is split pushing here, is soaking up gold. So every second here that nothing ends up happening for the side of Weekend Warriors, the Knight's getting a slight lead. And actually, they've put Nova in this match against Meatbun. This seems a lot riskier than having Old Man in that one.
Yeah, well, as long as Nova keeps the spacing, you know, it should be all right. I mean, your job is just to clear waves and chill out, really, as Victor at this point. So you don't need to fight him. You're under no pressure to do so. So yeah, just keep wave clearing. I don't know if anyone noticed it, but back when they were doing that cheese bush, they actually had the Zaya Wilk out of the bush first to try and bait Sharky into punching into that direction. Because obviously, you know, you see an ADC by herself, you want to punch her, right? So yeah, that's what they try to do to bait him, but the rest of the team just kind of showed too quickly, so Sharky was able to react to it by charging away. So yeah, the idea was there though. They definitely had the vision to do so. They still do. The wards are deep into the enemy jungle. So they're very well set up for Baron there, especially when both TPs are up for the side of Weekend Warriors.
So do you think they're going to start Baron soon, though? Or do you think, like, the posture around it, we've seen it, but it looks like Old Man Nova here not really in a spot for them to threaten starting Baron as much.
I mean, it's a bit confusing sending the Victor down bot as well. I'm not too sure what the plan is there. Of course, they both have TP, but I don't know if they both need to be bot. Like, you do need some pressure onto the mid lane at some point.
Dash Ray instead.
But yeah, it looks like, you know, they're just sending 2 people bot. That means they don't have the numbers to contest or protect the vision that they've set up topside. So now the situation has changed now. They lost their vision, they lost the topside control, they decided to push mid instead. The plan is to push mid, get them react to regain the control as they path back up to the river. But you know, you only have 1 ward left on Baki on that Rakan. And then you also have a pink ward, so it's not like you don't have the most tools there to regain some of that vision. And to answer your question, the plan of them should be just to make picks, use that vision to set up some cheese bushes, one-shot some people face checking, preferably the squishies, and use that numbers advantage and translate into Baron. But you know, that just didn't happen. The 1 bush cheese that they didn't quite work out. You know, they sent 2 people bot, which means that they lost vision due to numbers onto the top side. So now they're just back at the neutral square now. They have to reset for the vision on the next objective, which looks like they are behind on tempo on right now. As
yeah,
although on the Drake.
Fine, Meatbun might be in danger here, should be fine. But yeah, in that meantime though, of course, what we saw was that Weekend Warriors were kind of like not doing anything. And so Pabu was able to take both top tier 1 and bot tier 1 across it. Opens up the map a bit more for the side of the Knights, but it's not as important as that mid tier 1 tower. Teleporting bot though, we're setting up for 5v5 here. Meatbun is a bit low, Bucky goes in, there's the quickness, gets a double charm into the core of the Forge God. And Jinx though, Jinx is still alive. Sharky here can't hit the blast cone. Meatbun in that death realm, gonna keep going, but you're in the middle of 5 people, what is this? They come out of the death realm and it's instantly popped. It's just not enough, and all that AoE damage, they are a bit low, but without the Mordekaiser, that's your Fed member, that's really where you have all your lead in, it's so much harder to do anything. But Nova gonna walk too far forwards, gets flashed on by the Vice, Season's Assist comes through, and now that's excited here for Abe. Gonna keep going into 4-man knockup into the 4-man knockup. It's the wombo combo, and it's the triple kill for Dads on this Sire. Some incredible CC to punish them grouping up there, and it's an ace for the Weekend Warriors.
Man, things looked so well after they got the pick and got the Jinx, the Get Excited passive with the Jinx resets. They could have easily turned that, but you know, what I call the trampoline park combo, the double knockups. They landed it on all the remaining members of MCOM Knights, just giving them so much time to land the damage, to delete the members from their team. Easy ace. I cannot be a more obvious decision than the Baron here. A TP committed as well, so not only do they get the soul point, do they win the team fight, they also get the Baron. This is a big swing.
Here? Why are you here?
Yeah,
Realm of Death actually has caught out Nova, but Chaos Storm damage comes through. Oh my god, Vice, there is no steal. Penguin Domo might be caught out, but is able to throw a charge, going to catch out. We're going to smite it for that, but I don't know if we can catch them out. Dodges the zap and might just be able to run away here. We'll get knocked up, and yep, there we go. Do have to spend the Vial though, so they do get a kill there. Tier 1, I think.
One, but I think I think it's a bit weird how he used the Realm of Death onto the Victor. I don't think if the plan was to contest and threaten to steal the Baron, Victor's definitely not the target. You have the flash up, so you can flash.
Oh, the Talia W catches them out, but it's no follow-up, and it's not enough. And Meatbun just goes in, gets blown up. Nova stays alive, and it feels like just overestimating your strength when you're fed Mordekaiser. You don't have these tools to deal huge AoE damage alone. That's what his ult's for, and it wasn't up, and so tries to capitalize off of a great play there, but it's not going to work out, and instead just dies for it.
Yeah, we'll see what the rest of Weekend Warriors can get out of that. Let's see, they're just going to try and use this Baron buff to get as many towers as they can. Of course, top lane still has all the towers up from the side of MCOM Knights, so going to be looking to siege that. Right now, I think they should definitely be looking at something to do with a run them down comp. You have the Shirelias up, you have a Fed Xayah, you have the Ornn, you have the Poppy. They got tank items. I think now you have the tools that you need to start running people down, especially with that Baron buff. When you pressure a lot of different lanes, and we can make the pushes so quick. This is definitely the window for the side of Weekend Warriors to play really aggressive.
It is, and I think game one we saw the biggest issue felt like for the Weekend Warriors was that they were just not making the right decisions around objectives especially, but this time it felt just a lot cleaner. There was a bit of an exception there with that Baron like dance where they just did nothing and lost the side lanes, but other than that it felt like at least their fights have been so much cleaner as well. Top lane though, a big fight. We do get a Talia flick onto Dad's here, but no follow-up. Mordekaiser just going to keep walking around, doesn't have ult up, and they will push them away actually and defend this top tier 2 tower, but it still is 5,000 gold now, the lead for Weekend Warriors Academy, and it's just come off them playing so much cleaner than last game.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They've only managed to get the top tower so far off the Baron buff. They're actually not completely crushing the map.
We're gonna go through. We got Reaver's Wall, but there's a big rocket there. It's a big stun, and it flicks them out of the Super Mega Death Rocket, but it doesn't matter in the end. Talia's still getting the kill. Chaos Storm ticking down, gets out of it in time, and that's just a pick. This is one of the issues with Victors at time. You have no mobility, and so if they have a way to get onto you, you do just pop if you're alone.
Yeah, that Weaver's Wall, semi-global ability, a bit threatening, especially when you don't have vision and all your teams reset. So that is another Baron buff off the board, and MCOM Knights slowly trying to alleviate the situation. After that reset and that pick, they do have a lot of breathing room to work with. The Jinx is working on, it looks like an Infinity Edge at the moment.
Yeah, what is?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know about the Zeal. I usually.
There might be cut out here. We'll be fine. Yeah. Even then, it's almost a full item lead. It is a full item lead here for the Xayah.
Yeah. Working on most likely a BT as the fourth item for Xayah.
Mid lane though, Khan again gets the quickness onto the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser, the Realm of Death, stops that play engage. Sharky might have gone too far. Xayah flick back, shredding their team. Meatbun's just gonna have to walk away. Gets the pull, but it's not enough. And so no one dies, but the Weekend Warriors do a lot of damage, get a big health advantage right before the soul comes up for them. And if they get this, it is only Chemtech Soul, but the way these fights have been going, that's massive because they're not losing. It feels like just getting popped 100-0. If they do lose fights, it's going to be a lot more sustained almost, I think. It's going to be Mordekaiser trying to whittle someone down important in that Realm of Death while the rest of them deal damage. It's just so much hard to do that into a Chemtech Soul. But they should just get it. Sharky here might go for the steal. There's no way. Keeper's Verdict catches it, but it's not enough. And it's Chemtech Soul to the Weekend Warriors.
I think pick making is definitely the window here for MCOM to go with. You have a lot of tools to do it. The Realm of Death, the Assault and Battery. You have the Talia flicks. And multiple times we've seen the Xayah getting hit by those flicks. I mean, you didn't die, but as an ADC, at any moment if you get hit by them, you can just get one shot.
Might be put out again. Quickness finds the backline, finds two. Reaver's Wall tries to split the fight apart, but actually we're going to go over it. The Sharky's just gone in and tried to get into the backline, but Datsy doesn't even have to use the Feather Storm. That was just a complete misplay there from the Vi, and now the rocket comes in, but it's not enough. Later, the wind tries to come through. AP, though, turns it around. We're getting a reset. We're excited. There are some low health bars. Going to try to keep running up, but the Victor Laser dissuades them from keeping on going further. Baron buff no longer up, and the wave comes in. No one else. You can't really 1v4 as a Jinx. They're going to take an inhibitor tower here, but maybe not more because of that.
Again, no follow-up on Sharky there. You know, they knew it was basically a 2v1 and a 3v1 onto the Vi, so, you know, there was no more damage. And there was no threat after her cooldowns were used after the Assault and Battery, so just slowly whittled it down. The heal was still saved, that wasn't used. So yeah, the Xayah now has a 7-0 KDA. So, you know, you do have a lot of room to work with now. You have the Baron that's up. Again, you just want a team fight. They're pinging top, so they're most likely they want to get that top lane pushed out. That mid is going to auto push with the super minion there with no inhib. We see MCOM Knights trying to get establish the vision early before their lanes get crashed too much, denying some blast cones as well. But you know, eventually their lanes are going to get pushed in. They are going to have to react. So if they're going to make a play, they have to do it really quick.
Steadfast Present coming through. Now here we go. Call of Forger comes through, and it's not going to get reactivated in the end. Meat Bun using the ult coming through, but they all still have to kite back. There's just not enough health lead. And I don't think this is what you're going to be as Mordekaiser. And Mordekaiser immediately gets out of the ult, immediately dies. Pops stopwatch, but now it's an 8-0 on this Xayah. And the rest of them, they're still in mid, so they might get chased down here. Trillia's isn't up, and they're just going to turn up to Baron. Weekend Warriors take this Baron, can probably take the game off of it. And we might be going to a game 3.
Sharky not quite comfortable going in. Half HP, knows that Xayah still has that Feather Storm up. Baki, you know, still has the peel in the form of the quickness as well. So after the Call of the Forge God was denied, you know, there was still not much follow-up to take advantage of that. So, you know, Meatbun just has to wait it out and eventually pop out of his death realm and just get 5v1'd, unfortunately. And it's a shame because he was doing so well in the lane, and I think right now the best thing to do for him, especially when he has TP up, is to honestly just try and start cliff pushing and just wave clear using the Talia and the Jinx to try and hold on. It might be too late for that though, as the
Shock goes in. Good. We get the pull though, but the flash coming through. Australia's comes through, double knockback with the Keeper's Verdict. Will stop the play, and they won't get the inhibitor turret, so that is successfully defended. But now they have another wave. They have all these Baron buffs up. They have all these minions here. And Meat Bun getting the pull onto the Poppy. Not gonna play Death Realm used though, and it's sure. Hey, the Weaver's War comes through. It's not gonna get reactivated, but now the Mordekaiser is stranded on one side, and it will get cancelled immediately. Again, Daz just gets another kill here. The Ornalt can't get reactivated. A might be able to make something there. Might be able to keep hitting, but the Redemption comes through. They're all healed up, and they have a minion here. They're just gonna have to sit here, wait for these to get poked down, and it feels like this Mordekaiser is just trying to do too much, trying to do more than he can do.
I mean, you have to realize that that plan cannot work no longer. The flick
though. These flicks have been good, but there's just no follow-up because they just don't have damage. They have no one in position. They might keep chasing those. Sharky goes, gets the season to this, but it's going to get cancelled. Super Mega Death Rocket body blocked instantly, and the flick doesn't catch anyone out this time, but they get a kill on Nova, and now this Jinx is excited. She's got these resets. They're not going to keep chasing. Xayah 10-0 here, but you stop the push and you get a 1-for-1 trade. Your inhibitor's still up, the tower down, but that's honestly as good as you're going to get here for the Knights. 9,000 gold down though. It's going to be so hard. The Wicked Warriors can just reset. They can just look for this Elder that's up in 75 seconds, and that definitely would allow them to end the game.
Yeah, especially with the comp that they choose, just to run them down if they wish to do so. That Jinx now are working on an LDR. You know, at this point, when you don't have an LDR, it must be really, really tough because the front line is just so beefy. You got the Ornn working on the 4th item. You got the 3-item Poppy as well with the Randuins to slow you down. And Jinx, that's kind of your only play at this stage. It's just the front to back. And Meat Bun, you know, he has to realize that, yes, you do deny the Ornn plays and the Ornn engages, but, you know, you just have no follow-up after the Ornn, like, after, you know, putting that Ornn in the Death Realm. And you will just eventually die. You have to realize that the team can't really do anything outside of it, because you still got the Poppy as a secondary front line just to deter any other form of engages.
Meatbun uses
Right, so
the
go for the
realm
death
of
realm.
death. That's a bit early. It's just not going to get anything off of it. But they do have 4 people here. They do have an advantage when Nova gets there. And they actually have set up on this Elder. Maybe they can make something happen. They get the pull into Penguin, but there's so much less damage coming through. The force of nature just stops so much damage here from this blue side. And we're going to keep seeing, setting up the skirmish. But Pabu here, they get a flick onto Baki, but they don't have the damage to kill it. And now they keep fighting, keep setting up.
It's not quite enough damage to one-shot those flick targets there. I mean, the flicks were nice, but it's just not enough. They just didn't have the damage to get the pick they need in the time that they buy with that ability.
Mid lane pushing in, we're going to see this Elder started here. Try to force the fight, force something to happen. Chomper's used. Nova out here on the back side as a Victor gets a lot of poke damage, and maybe the engage comes through. But here we go, Call of Forge got used. This is the go button. It catches no one. It's not what you want, but the quickness comes through and it still catches him. It finally catches out. Aim on this Jing, but Pabu gets the kill. There's an Elder here though, and there's so much damage still alive. Meatbun has found the backline, but this Sire is doing so much damage. She is unkillable. She hasn't died all game. It's a double kill for the Sire. There's still an Elder, but AP on this Jinx getting another kill. It's excited. She's going to do it. It's the ADC versus the ADC, and it can keep going. They're raiding out the Jinx excitement, and oh my god, this Elder is just reset. And we're going to just go for another one. It is a health advantage here to the side of the Knights. This is what they want. They're going to get in first. Can they make anything happen, though? I don't think so, and I don't think you can start this up either. And look at this wave in mid. They've just taken the inhibitor, and these are going to keep pushing for Nexus turrets if you aren't careful, so the Knights can't just keep standing around here. They have to try and make something happen. And we're going to see him get the flash play onto Dads here. But the Sire hasn't used all yet, and it just turns around onto Sharky. The Keeper's Verdict completely knocks the Jinx out of the fight, and now there's no follow-up. There's no threat of damage, and they can get run down. Penguin Domo flashes onto this Lulu, and Lulu's dead. The Vi's going to have to run away, and it should be Elder here. I almost certainly for the side of the Weekend Warriors, but they're still too scared to start it up, I think.
Nexus turrets.
Yeah, Nexus turrets, though, as we said. One Nexus turret down. These Winions are just going to keep pushing, and they have to answer it. The Mordekaiser respawn does come through, and that gives them a chance to answer it. Sharky will have to get this kill if they want to make anything happen here. Call Forge God comes through. Knockups will catch out Aim, though, and they get a knockup here. They get completely split apart. This fight's over before it can even start. There's no kills coming in at all for the Knights. They're not able to make anything happen. Nova even lives the death realm. It looks like Meatbun will get a kill, but it's just not enough. Complete ace here. They've got minions. They're teleporting in top, and we're going to game 3. We have a series on our hands as Weekend Warriors Academy take game 2. And we have to watch them end because it's all too early. Lady of the Wind can't defend. They're just going to take it. I'm gonna...
Lulu auto attacks on one, by the way.
Yeah, insane value.
Yeah, it was really weird. I think Meatbun played that fight really weird. He had, like you said, he had a very good angle into that backline. He tried to put Xayah in that death realm, but a nice reaction there, a nice reaction to that ability by using that stopwatch, and that cancelled the death realm. And he actually immediately targeted the Poppy with the ability instead. So now Poppy's in the death realm. That, which does mean, because the Maul's no longer in your face, as a Xayah, you can now free hit and lay down the damage, right? So it's a bit weird. I mean, I think he should have just waited for the stopwatch and just death realm the Xayah again, because it doesn't go on cooldown if they cancelled it. So yeah, I think the Mordekaiser was a good pick in paper, but I don't think that MCOM Knights knew how to make it work. They didn't know how to adapt to the situations. Like once Mord ulting the Ornn to deny Call of the Forge God wasn't working anymore, they have to look at different strategies, right? Flanks into the backline, try and sync up the Xayah, ulting the Poppy instead, or even just split pushing with TP, right? Because he did have the solo lane lead. He's a very powerful duelist, and if you send multiple people for him, there's still that threat that he kills somebody with the Realm of Death. So the split pushing, if applied earlier on, could have been a pretty viable strategy for them to hang on to the game and to pressure Weekend Warriors a bit more. And you can tell that last 15 minutes was just so hard for for MCOM Knights, there were so many decisions that they had to make, especially when they were doing Elder. They had to decide between minions, between the inhibs, the Nexus turret, between engaging the Elder or not. And that Poppy play as well, knocking away the Jinx and then immediately flashing on to the remaining members trying to run away, was just, that just kind of sealed the deal. So Weekend Warriors takes game 2, and next game we'll see who takes the series.